There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. I'm Matt.
Merry effing Christmas. And the F is for fun, baby.
Wow. Merry Christmas. This is the Christmas time podcast here. So I thought we would talk about
putting the hoe in holidays.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Now this. I'll tell you this, because technically, looking at the calendar, this is going to be the day after. But doesn't matter, because everyone has the day off the day after usually. So listen to it. So I hope your Christmas went well. We're recording this before Christmas.
Yes.
But the question is, the topic is, this was going to be a Saturday morning salmon flange topic, but then I pulled it from salmon flange because it's something that I wanted to hear you talk about.
Okay, great.
So
not Benjamin?
Rather have you have this one. Well, I mean, yeah, but I have a feeling that we've done so many top fives around the holidays that a lot of the stories would be repetitive.
Yep.
And so I say, well, let's do something different here. Let's switch
Know
it up.
your audience. You're such a pro.
Your audience. That's right. So switch it up, and I pulled it from them. They got some other topics. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Sure.
I'm not worried about them. But with us, well, what are we going to talk about here is some Christmas memories. Christmas memories as kids. As a kid, I'm going to ask you these questions first.
Please do.
I will. You have a sister, correct?
I do.
Any other siblings?
I have a stepbrother and stepsister, but they came into the picture when I was...
Way later.
Yeah, way later.
So you grew up with just you and your sister, right, with your family?
That is correct. She's 10 years older than me.
Yeah, 10 years older than you.
So she's basically raised by two different sets of parents.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, if you're 10 years apart with your kids, you got
There's
a lot more.
Yeah.
You got a lot more knowledge.
Does she tell you that? Does she tell you they raised you differently?
Oh, I watched it. I watched the emotional abuse my whole life. Hence why I don't have kids.
Wow. Okay, your sister has kids, though.
She does.
Okay.
She went left, I went right.
How are those kids? Okay, moving on. So so as kids growing up, Chris, first off, did they do the whole Santa thing with you?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Christmas
so
for me as a little kid was awesome.
Super magical.
Oh yeah.
What was the best gift? Do you remember one of the best gifts or some of the best gifts you got? Doesn't have to be the best gift, but what was some of you went crazy? Like for me, as a kid, I did this on Salmon Flange, I think a year or so ago.
Yeah, we've talked about Christmas on here before too. So
yeah, for me it was Super Mario Brothers 3. Really excited to get that because I'd wanted it and I didn't think my parents were going to give it to me.
Well, I think, if I look back on it and say what stands out about Christmas to me was just the act of being involved in Christmas. When you're a kid and you help put up the tree and you're helping, I had a Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk stocking that we got from Sears in 1980 or something.
Right.
So we had those up. Those are on that Christmas tree from the time that I was young until the time that Christmas tree didn't exist anymore. So things like that to me is the real. There's what they talk about is Christmas magic or whatever they're trying to sell you on a CBS holiday movie.
Right. We've talked about the Sears wish list here.
Yes,
That's
we
what
have.
We talked about.
Yeah. And we talked about best gifts and things like that.
Okay, we talked about that. So let me move on, and hold on. I'm making a change here. I'm going to do my hand signals here. We're calling in a pinch hitter. We're going to switch this up. This is going to be the week before Christmas.
Okay.
And we'll do our one that we recorded earlier. That's going to be the day after.
Okay.
So there you go. Voila. Magically.
This is what happens when you have your episodes in the can.
Back to back. Yes, that's right. We can move them. We can move them around however we want.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's move on then. We'll move on from presents here.
Okay.
What was your Christmas tree? Was it real? Was it fake?
It was fake, just like
fake
all the emotions involved. I found out.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
Smile for the camera and hold back all the hurt.
Okay, ours was fake for the most part, but every once Dad went through phases where he wanted a real tree. And then he went through phases where I'm not paying X amount for a real tree. I'm going back to the fake tree. We had the fake green plastic tree. You knew it was fake because it was really green. But I remember when we got the new fake tree, it looked just like a real tree. It's unbelievable. But we had that fake, that fake really green plastic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looked like a tree from far away, but you could tell it was fake because it was so bright green.
Yeah.
So artificial trees were getting near perfection at sometime in my life. I don't remember when, maybe in the early 90s.
Yeah, our tree made it to the 90s for sure. From all the 80s, it was the same tree.
Oh, man, we had lights from the 70s on it still.
Oh, yeah, going up and down this attic and just, it was...
Every ornament we'd ever made from our childhood.
Oh, yeah, you had all those vacation Bible school nonsense on there.
Yep, you had the ornament your teacher gave you for Christmas. She gave ornaments to everyone. So you put those on there for every year.
Sure.
It seemed like you had on there. We had ornaments with our picture on it, of course. It was made of paper that still is around today. Mom doesn't throw anything away. So it's still on our Christmas tree. In fact, all the old ornaments.
But see, to me, that is the allure of when you get our age and you look at that and you go, man, Christmas is so different now. Because people get stuff every year. I don't know how often you recycle a tree these days.
We have gifted our first tree we got. You're right. We gave that to one of her sisters, and another tree we gave to one of her sisters. So we are down to, but we've cycled through a few trees, but yeah, here and there. And we have a few trees in the house. I think we're good right now. One for each bedroom.
That's a lot of trees.
That is a lot of
big
trees,
house,
but
so.
It's a little 4-foot pink one for the girls' room. It's a little 4-foot green one for the babies' room. I mean, they're not big ones.
Sure.
And ours is a regular, I wouldn't say standard anymore. It's kind of small. 6 feet is kind of small now. Even that's the type of tree I think we had growing up was a 6-foot tree. But that's in our room.
Right.
And that was one that she wanted the white-looking Christmas tree to make a snowman Christmas. That's what we have. Used to be in our kitchen. But since we got rid of another Christmas tree, gave it to someone else, then we just moved that one to our room. So it's fine. Of course, I have the Christmas tree that rotates now, changing lights, all the bells and whistles. Back in the day, we did popcorn string around our tree. Did you ever do that?
That was not in...
That was not y'all.
No, we did like the real ridiculous garland that would just get everywhere.
We had that maybe one year. I know what you're talking about.
Just a mess.
Yeah, a mess. We have that right now, I think, on our tree.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. It's not worth it.
It is so 70s looking now.
Yeah. Mom went to bows, like little tie-in bows or something, ribbon. Well, she switched to that because the garland was not doing it for her.
Right.
Tinsel is something that's in the past. You can't even buy tinsel anymore. I'm sure
it's
you can
probably
online.
toxic or something.
Maybe so. I do somehow, maybe it was at Hobby Lobby. I don't know, but we have real tinsel in the packaging, but I'm not using that yet. We tinsel our tree in our room because my grandmother put tinsel on her tree. That's an old thing to do now.
Yeah, we had tinsel on ours too.
You used to buy cheap plastic tinsel at it's shredded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Paper.
Like the Christmas trees, if you look at like the 70s and early 80s, it basically like somebody poured plastic product over the tree, and it just kind of dripped off.
Dollar Tree used to sell it by the bags, and even they don't sell it anymore because it's just too old a tradition. Yet I do have one last bag from an old, I guess, Dollar Tree purchase from years ago, and we're slowly moving through that, but it does make the tree look a little messy, but it just reminds me of my grandmother, which is why I do it. And all her grandmother's ornaments are on there too, so it's almost like it's now become the grandmother tree, now that I think about it. But
we're breaking through some emotional walls on this episode.
I guess so. But the tree as a kid had lights our tree had lights that didn't match. The big flower bud ones from the 70s to the little tiny lights from the 90s. Like, oh, look how small we can make Christmas tree lights. But it really wasn't practical. And they burned out really quick. And that was back in the day. You got replacements. You kept all the replacements in the bag, and you'd switch it out.
Yeah, that was the fun of putting up a tree. Was there was all this fun putting it up, and then when you get to the details, you're like, man, can I go outside and
remember
play?
having to wrap it? You had to just string after string, and if it found it was too short or too long, you have to go back through it again. It was awful. I have all my trees are pre-lit now.
Yeah, we
never buy lights for a tree.
Yeah, it was just a different time.
Yeah. I remember when
You'd
they
have
came
all
up,
these cords just monkey wrenched inside each other, and
right before the pre-lit tree, though. I remember that they were selling this net or something. It was a star, but it had a little net roll that it rolled down, and all the lights just kind of fell down on top.
like
of
a Christmas condom.
That yes, it was a Christmas condom, a Christmas tree condom, light of lights. And I was like, that's super. I remember thinking that's super smart. That's super smart. And then the pre-light thing, the pre-lit trees may have already been out, but they were too expensive at the time, maybe. So this was coming, and I think you can still get those.
I wonder if it
today.
felt like Christmas.
I don't know. I just remember seeing it in the store and going,
That joke
"That's
totally
smart."
flew over.
What? No, it did. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
Maybe somebody listened, caught it.
Anyway, did your tree have anything else? What was on the top of your tree?
There was an angel, and we had a star. It was like in this kind of rotation from your.
That was ours too. We had an ugly, light up, 70s looking star that had for years, so it finally died and is gone. And now we still have the same angel, but it is a little, I mean, we're talking, what's that, 4 inches or whatnot? 3 inches?
I'm glad you're asking me these questions.
Don't ask me what I'm using as a measuring stick.
This is
here,
why
folks.
you're talking to me and not Benjamin. The 3 or 4 inch question. Gosh.
But I mean,
doggone.
it was a very small angel that was on top of the tree, and I think it's still there now.
I think our angel was bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a tiny angel, but I think that was the only thing we had back in the day, and it just became tradition to keep that small angel up there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's the emotional, sad side of Christmas. As you start reflecting all of this, and you look at pictures, and you realize, man, the tradition stuff that maybe we didn't enjoy so much. You look back and you go, "Gosh, I wish I could
go back."
Can I
and see
can that?
Yes.
And how can I make it work now?
Let me ask you this: did your mom make anything for special? My mom always made.
She just made everybody miserable. But as far as baking anything, no, not at all.
Okay. This is sad. I'm gonna move this back to the after Christmas.
This is a hard candy Christmas, not starring Dolly Parton.
Okay, so my mom made fudge, and she made Christmas tree cookies.
Now, my
Really good.
ex-wife, her mother,
Yeah.
before she passed away, she made something called magic bars, and that is not ecstasy or any other drug-related term that any of our millennial Generation X audience might know. This was actually like Christmas candy that was so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. You just don't know where to transition on this, do you?
I don't. I'm trying to move away. I can't get the.
So one of my
Okay.
one of my coworkers that I've worked with for the past 4 years, her favorite movie is The Grinch with Jim Carrey.
I love that movie too.
Okay, so like a couple of years ago, I tried watching it with her, me and her and
Yeah.
another one of my exes. It's a pattern. And I got through like 6 minutes of this movie, and I go, man, this is the worst Christmas movie I've ever seen. So I just like turned the shit off. But anyway, the other day at work, I was like, hey, have you watched The Grinch yet this year? And she said, no, I work with him every day. So unfortunately, my mother's mental abuse for Christmas has somehow tainted some of my Christmas spirit.
Okay. Do you have a Christmas movie that you like to watch?
I would say Batman Returns because I keep talking about that, but I think the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
That doesn't get old.
Yeah.
I watched it with my nephews. They were bored. It's sad. That humor's kind of not in style
yeah. Slapstick
anymore.
is just not.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
That's still funny. It's still funny. It's still good. I was laughing still. I've seen that movie a billion times.
Yeah.
When
I was a kid, Christmas movies was Rudolph and Frosty though by far.
Really, the claymation?
Yes.
Wow, Megan's is that old Frosty cartoon.
Yeah.
She watches it, and still to this day,
and the
she
Frosty
watches it.
cartoon. Like I would get
That's the big
all shook up when Frosty melted.
That was Megan loved that cartoon. She still watches it today.
Yeah.
That is her one. If she can only watch one thing for Christmas, it's gonna be Frosty.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I definitely cling to those, and I think I've talked to you too. We've talked about Christmas, and I told you I bought the Peanuts Christmas vinyl. We were talking one day about vinyls, and I put it on, and man, I just broke down as soon as I heard that opening.
And that is one thing.
Needle.
I do have a record player, and the main thing that I collected all the Chipmunks albums because they're not reprinting those in CD format because of copyright, I guess. So I got all the Chipmunks albums, but then I got a ton of Christmas stuff. Perry Como and stuff like that.
Right.
And I will continually, if we go to flea markets and I see a few Christmas albums, they're usually cheap, I'll pick some up because Christmas on vinyl, there's no better substitute. The way it sounds, that's what we grew up listening to. We grew up listening to these records. I did, at least.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about Christmas music now. It's when, and you know, everybody has their own favorite artist, but so much of Christmas, I don't know, the Christmas music was more important than the artist performing it back then.
That's true.
That's true. When I hear certain Christmas music, it doesn't make me feel a certain way because it's an artist performing it. It's just the music of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
yeah. You don't really care who's saying it. It's like it's Christmas music, Christmas carols.
It might be
Christmas
background
classics.
music, but it touches something like in your.
Absolutely. For our family comes over for a Christmas party, when we have Perry Cuomo's Christmas is playing. I play those records all the time.
Yeah.
Over than having the Echo play something.
Right.
I'd rather it be on the vinyl because it just sounds more authentic.
Yeah.
Better. I mean, obviously the clearest sound is digital. I don't argue that, but vinyl I love the sound of vinyl. I think a lot of people think that too, though. I think
I think I think a lot of it too is just our demographic and growing up. Music, like most things, was not as easily accessible as it is now. So when you listen to vinyl, you're putting a little bit more work into it, so it just feels a little bit better to you.
Right. Going back to the depressive side of you.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear now. My parents grew up because my dad was not going to talk about Santa with us, so Santa never existed. We never got the magic of Santa.
Right.
Because Dad's like, no, because eventually we'll have to just let him down, and that sucks. So I don't want to do that. I guess he didn't like it when it happened to him, so he wasn't going to do it for us. So we grew up without a Santa. You grew up with one. When did you find out?
I for sure knew funny you bring this up, in first grade because I got in trouble because I told a bunch of kids in first grade that Santa wasn't real. And of course, if you grew up in Louisiana, one of the kids even said, if you don't believe in Santa Claus, you don't believe in Jesus. So,
of course,
obviously, that was a sign of things to come for everyone here. Because if you don't believe in something, then obviously...
Did the principal bring you to Jesus?
They did not. They just handed this.
Okay.
They just handed me off to my parents. Like, can you please do something with this Tasmanian devil
in first grade?
Yeah, I can't. That's a good. I'm not sure. I don't know if
your sister told you, or
your
parents just said, you know what, we're done.
Yeah, probably.
Your mom said, "Hey, Wes, come here." On top of Bruce Banner never getting friends as the Hulk, Santa doesn't exist either. You probably said that while watching the Hulk one night. So, well, maybe Santa Claus will give the Hulk peace at this time and joy. You went,
not so fast, my friend.
Good night, Wes. Oh, and by the way, as you turn off lights, there is no Santa.
Yeah, don't pee the bed again.
So when I flip off this light, let the darkness just take your soul.
Yeah, something along those lines. Don't get out of the bed when you hear us fighting.
Well, you know what? Thinking back on it, maybe I should have just transitioned this to Saturday Morning Sound Flash. So let me ask you this now. What is Christmas like for you now? Is it something you don't care about?
Well, I've worked in sales for so long.
You work in retail, so it means something different when we're in retail.
And I've worked it so long.
Yeah.
And I sent a friend of mine this the other day. There was this video on YouTube about Christmas in the 70s, and I sent it to them. They're like in our demographic, and just the pictures and the music it played, it was such a much more authentic thing. But also, I'm looking at this, I'm remembering this in kids' eyes.
Yeah,
right.
That's nostalgic there.
Yeah, so it's pulling at all those old strings. So for me now, with me not having kids, it's very different.
As an adult, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think to me, what Christmas means now is when you look at it and it's more of a reflective time. Yeah. And we've talked about this too, which you can kind of slip and slide on all that stuff. But I like the good side of Christmas where people are, doing things and getting together and the fellowship side of it. But I do not like the side of where it's like a deadline driven situation where there's all of this anxiety surrounding it. And I think that's been in plenty of movies, so we don't have to dig into that.
But that's the difference, because as a kid, you don't have that side. You don't have that side. So there's why there's more excitement about the holiday season, because as a kid,
it's not been exposed to you as a business.
Yeah, because you weren't growing up trying to do all the hustle and bustle, and you still were we were out of school around the holidays.
Yeah, 2 weeks you're out of school.
Still had to work.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So it's just a little bit different. As a kid, you always enjoy it. Now, if I stand corrected by anyone listening, please let me know if you love Christmas more as an adult.
I mean, one of my favorite Christmas memories, talking about my sister, was I can remember going into an old department store that used to be here called Howard Brothers, which is somehow tied to the Duck Dynasty situation. But anyway, I can remember us going in there because this is during the Cabbage Patch boom.
Yeah.
So this is 84, 85, somewhere in there. And we were on this hunt for my sister a Cabbage Patch doll, even though she's 10 years older than me, but whatever.
The hunt for the toy.
Yeah, and somehow or another, me being a tiny kid, I found one someone hid somewhere.
Oh, wow.
And was they were like, oh my God.
Wow.
So,
and you felt like Sherlock Holmes, right?
Right, I felt like
uncovering the mystery.
Couldn't believe it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I had that, awesome, and then there was a store here called Howard Griffith, Land of Toys. This is before you lived here.
Wow.
It's since burned down. It was in Monroe.
Okay.
And it was just it was a boat store, but when it was Christmas time, they would load it up with all these decorations and stuff. And
it was the Christmas toy store.
They had a train in the mall here that you could ride around in. So, yeah.
So, so you love going to that toy store around Christmas, right?
Oh, yeah. I love Christmas as a kid. I think that's probably the turn-off of it for me now.
That's a big memory there. This is Howard.
Yeah. Howard Brothers Land.
When did it burn to the ground?
Fun for girls and fun for boys.
Wow.
It was a whole jingle. Wow. Well, it closed...
Oh, it closed
in the mid-'80s.
Okay. When so your mom didn't burn it to the ground. It gave you too much joy. Okay.
Yeah, she didn't burn my memories. Yeah. Perfection only lies in your memories.
I will say this, though. Talking about Christmas and retail, as everyone knows, we worked in the mall together. That's how we met. And I'll be honest, though, I really enjoyed the season, even at that time, because at that time it had shifted. I wasn't going off my excitement. I was going off everyone else's excitement. I felt like, and back in the 90s, this was true, the mall was still the place to be.
Right. Yeah, so that was where it was a lot more enjoyable then.
Yeah, I felt I was at the central hub of social hangout, which we were.
Yeah.
You went to the mall. Their online shopping was not around back then.
Well, computers were barely
around back then.
But the decor, the mall would go all out.
They were all out.
They would be, starting in November.
Because it was such a big undertaking.
We were kind of tied up with some of the mall management, so we would, we could go see all that stuff before it really hit the floor.
They had garland everywhere, the big wreaths.
Oh yeah,
with that giant wreaths on the windows and stuff like that. They don't do that now.
No, of course not.
No, of course not. They don't. But it's sad because they probably should. I don't know.
Well, you got to have manpower.
That's true.
And they don't have that budget anymore.
No, they don't. They got empty stores.
Well,
and empty parking lots.
They are like every mall in America. It's just
Although I will be honest,
an artifact.
this coming weekend of the podcast,
Yes.
will probably be their busiest ever because that's everyone's last minute and you can't go online. So that's when the mall will pack out.
Yep.
Because, I mean, the mall was always packed the last few weeks. It started getting busy after Black Friday and on. It was always busy every
Sure.
weekend. It just escalated. But it got really crazy toward the end because then you have all the last minute shoppers. Because they just were kicking this off and, time passes by pretty fast. If Christmas is only 2 weeks away, my wife still doesn't. She kept talking about trying to get. She said, "I need to order some the rest of my gifts." Yeah, you probably do because they're probably not going to ship in time if you're going on that one. But in the mall in the '90s, still was a good time. I was, of course, late '90s. I was college age and stuff, but still, that I felt like I was at the central hub of the excitement and everything. So
Yeah.
it's still good memories.
Yeah.
Different ones, but good ones, that we had. And then now, the new excitement, I guess, for me would be the kids getting excited. I mean, this is the first of hopefully many Christmases where they really start. They don't care when they're 3 yet. They're almost 4. So they're getting to be where it's going to be more and more exciting.
Well, and they have a new set of humans.
We have new set
A
of
new
humans looking
house.
at the new house and everything. So yeah. New Christmas, whatever our tradition's going to be. But as they get older, in that 4 to
Invite Uncle Wes over, kick that angel off the tree.
well, actually, you're going to dress up as Santa,
Oh.
come in and ask them what they want for Christmas.
And so you're not getting it.
Never mind.
That's the ghost of Wes's mother's past.
Well, okay, never mind. I'll get Brandon to do it.
He would enjoy it. He might hurt his back, but he'd enjoy it.
Hey, what? We'll bring all the kids from the neighborhood and just kind of leave them in the room as we go into the kitchen and get the drinks and snacks.
Talk
and
about
everything.
the smell of spoiled milk. Yeeks.
I can't get Heath to do it because I can't have him show up that early.
That's
Party
true.
can't start that early,
Right.
unless we want a sleeping Santa.
Yeah. Santa brings presents at night. Nah, not gonna make it.
Nah, Santa brings you presents around 5:30.
I can be there about 3 maybe. PM, not AM.
But you usually go to your sister's house now, right?
No, I go
Oh.
to my aunt and uncle's.
Oh, aunt and
Yeah,
uncles.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Around here?
Yep.
All right, right on.
Yeah.
Right on then.
I spent Christmas last year with Heath Fudge.
Oh, shut up.
Yep, with
How was
his
that?
mom's. Yeah, it's
I
good.
mean, that was fun, huh?
Yeah, Heath's mom loves me. I'm a charmer. You know that.
Okay. All right, yeah. Do you wear no. Okay. So glad we're not on video. All right. What was my next question for you? I just lost it. What was the other thing? Oh, do you wear Christmas gala shirts or sweaters? I have a few, but
I've done that before.
Yeah.
For me, I'm more of like, if I'm going to wear something like that, I'm going to wear a woman's sweater because those are just so much more ridiculous. So I want it to just totally not fit the right way and look absolutely terrible.
I refuse to do the ugly sweater thing. Megan loves that. I think.
Well, it's ugly only because I'm wearing a women's sweater.
Yeah. I remember one year I went to one. I think Megan put it together from one of my sweaters. I was like, good, so I can throw it away when I'm done because it's garbage. So I don't really do that. I know there was one PJ. Come in your PJs. No, I'm not doing that either. Forget that. I'm not doing a PJ party either. So just not going to do that kind of stuff. And I mean, I do have one maybe Christmas themed shirt. I don't know if I have that many. I don't have that many now that I think about it. Not that I wouldn't be opposed to wearing them. I just don't. I just don't have that many shirts. I was just wondering if you did any Christmas fare like that.
That would be about it.
Yeah. Y'all have like you don't really dress up for Christmas at work either, though.
Well, we have the option if
Oh.
we would like to.
Oh, so
with
they
wearing
can wear
antlers and jingle bells and
Do you
all of
do
that
that?
kind of stuff. I do not.
You don't partake in that.
My head's a little big
That's
for the antlers.
Well, that's a little bit for the customer too. Kind of gives the ambience of Christmas.
Yes.
That's why y'all pump that Christmas music in there.
Pump it up.
Pump it up. Mm-hmm. You get tired of listening to that?
I've been tired of it for about 25 years.
All right. So There you have it. The sad Christmas. The sad Christmas. Hey, thanks.
The authentic Christmas.
The authentic Christmas. So now, good reminder for next year, we'll talk wrestling.
Yep.
Yep, we'll do that instead.
If we're going to talk about hoes, let's not talk about Christmas.
Okay, put down the shirt. All right, folks, we'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.